Oh, hi, how are you? I hope you're well. Today I'm doing a voiceover for a build based on this French villa pictured here, what I think is a French villa. Originally, I had tried to make a vintage cake into a house and even created a little character for it, but it just wasn't coming out how I pictured, so we're moving on to something hopefully better and easier to execute. The reason why I'm doing a voiceover today is because I just got so frustrated with the cake and I just wanted to go in and build this thing without having to worry about talking. So I hope you understand. So I've already got my character and I want them to kind of be the stereotypical French girl, except with a bit of a rock edge. So I've already picked out the hair. I've done the outfit. We got a mock neck sweater with a crop, and then these smart plaid pants and some cute almost Mary Jane style flats. Not quite, but it's got the little band around the ankle. So now let's get into the makeup here. Like I said, I want to do kind of a stereotypical French girl with a rock edge. So I want to go in with like smoky black eyeliner and like a red lip. I also made her eyes a bit more droopy, a bit more sleepy. And I think that kind of evokes, like I don't care attitude. Laissez-faire, I guess you would call it. Maybe not. Nonchalant is what I'm supposed to be saying. A nonchalant attitude. So don't worry about the eyeshadow right now. It's just, I'm going to change that. So we're going for this red lip from Miko. And I just kind of lower the opacity here to find a red lip that complements our character's skin color. And then I want to go in with a light blush. But I do something different here because all these colors are corals. I was messing around with the hue slider and I thought the yellow looked really, really good on her, especially since it matched the sweater. But I really do think it does a good job of complementing her skin color again, like the lipstick. And it's not too strong or anything. It's just like kind of it almost acts like a highlighter. This blush, I believe, is also from Miko. And then like I said, I want to do a smudged eye smoky look. So I should mention, I also gave her a little bit of an eye bag because I just feel like that exudes the sexy French girl that like doesn't really give a fuck. And I also feel like that's more realistic. Anyways, then I'm trying to find a winged cat eyeliner. But for some reason, all the Sims eyeliners are really like upturned. And I want something a bit more straight. So I end up going for something more minimal than I wanted. However, I think it works out in the end. And then you saw I added some nice dramatic eyelashes. And I think that helps with the cat eye look as well. I'm just really happy with this Sim. There's just something so charming about her. I love how everything comes together and it really makes that aesthetic of the French girl ring true. So I want to mention before we get into the build, I am fostering 2 cats. The first one is Princess Fiona. She is only going to be with me for about a week, 2 weeks, because her foster is on vacation. But she has been so sweet. She wasn't hiding at all from the beginning, and she gets up to these shenanigans, and she's just so funny. And then I have Cassie Jr., who I am fostering indefinitely until we can find a forever home. And she's a 9-month-old kitten, so she's like in that in-between place between becoming an adult and being a bit more calm and not requiring as much handling. But she's just so sweet, and you should hear her meows. They are so adorable. It's almost like she's talking to you. But they're both available for adoption. They both deserve homes. They're such wonderful little cats, and you can apply directly at straycatalliance.org. They're based in the LA area, so just keep that in mind. If you have any questions, let me know. But yeah, let's move on to the build. So I'm putting down this base, and so since I only have that one image to go off of, outside of that, I kind of have to make it up. But I can tell we have the first floor with the couch and the table and everything. Then we have the second floor with the balcony. And then we have a third floor because you can see a second set of windows above the windows on the balcony. So I'm just making the base here. I don't quite know like the angles and the dimensions. I just kind of play it by ear. From the photo, it does look like the ground floor extends out past that little, what do you call it? Like, I would call it a sunroom, but I don't think you call it that because I think it's just extends into the rest of the home, but I would call it the sunroom. The little area in the back with all the gorgeous windows. So we gotta put the wallpaper, I guess. I think it was stone, like the masonry, whatever, on the outside in a warm color. I know that photo has a filter over it for sure. It's been edited as well. But I still want to kind of give it that very warm, sunny day look. So I use a warm toned building color. I decided to flip it around because I have it on afternoon, but it's not catching on any of the sunlight in the, you could call it a courtyard or whatever. So I flip it around so that the sun catches it. And plus, when you're relaxing in that couch, you get to look at the beautiful waterfront. So, and then I end up changing the color of the walls because it's not warm enough. This build took me probably 3 hours. I'm probably slower than the average person, but what you're seeing is like super condensed into 20 minutes. I still think it's worth it because now I have it in my world so I can use it anytime. And I want to build out the rest of the house. It's just at this moment I just wanted to focus on what was pictured in the Pinterest image. Okay, so this is the part where I try to recreate the windows or the doors that you see in that image, and I'm trying to fit like square door frames, entryways, and then just try to like fit different windows or doorways to see if it could create the same effect, but there really wasn't anything that made sense. So what I did is painstakingly put together every little panel piece by piece. And honestly, I don't really think it was worth it. So if you end up doing this, I definitely recommend just use one of the game windows and don't try to do this. Because it creates like those awkward spaces next to the window. I know, like, I covered it with columns, but you could still kind of see it. But I wasn't gonna go back and undo all of it, so I just kept it. At the very least, I'm kind of recreating it to a T, so I have that. I can be proud of that, at least. You know what would be so great though? If the game could let us like draw windows. I don't think that would be that hard because you could like just sculpt it out of the wall tool. It would allow just for so much more customization. But so yeah, I finished this window, this custom window. My only thing is like I wish the square panels didn't overlap like that. But I couldn't do anything about it, so I kind of like pretended that was part of the look. So I add these columns, and you can see it doesn't cover those spaces left by the windows completely. And then I added the curtains in the back. I had to overlap a bunch because they weren't quite wide enough. Didn't quite fit, so yeah, I had to mess around with that. Eventually, I got it to a place where I was pretty happy with it. And then the black space at the bottom of the windows, that's just another curtain. I wish that the columns would have covered the little rod at the bottom, but it's a compromise. So then I put down the couch, chairs, and the table. I didn't have an exact match, but these were what I had. That's okay. It's about creating the aesthetic. It's about, creating the overall atmosphere and image. And then for the trees on the balcony, I used these boxed trees. The one thing I wish we could do with these trees is like change the color of the leaves, because the leaves they don't have that like aged look like the rest of the building does in the photo. They look just like really green. Here I'm trying to check that the angle is right. For some reason here it looked fine to me, and then later on I realized that the balcony was up too high or something. It could also be that, I'm looking at it on a monitor. Aspect ratio is different, So then I put the fern that's in the balcony back there. I used these flower boxes to recreate like the kind of the vines coming down on the balcony, but I'm going to change that later because I find something that works a bit better. But those were pain to place. Oh my god. They keep trying to like stick and change angles. And you might see that there's like a bunch of like trees and stuff over there on the grass. And that's because I can't work any other way. I have to like lay out every single option that I have. Oh, and for the tree behind the couch, I used a children's basket, and then I sized down one of the trees in the game. And then I put in this door. But this door was pretty perfect. Oh, and because the door didn't fit, I had to widen the balcony. I really love how the balcony looks. It just like reminds me of like Romeo and Juliet. I love like the aged, yellowing aesthetic of the house. I mean, it's probably bad. It's probably like damaged and stuff, but it just looks really romantic and gorgeous. Okay, so I added all the windows there. You can see in the image that the top windows are a different side from the bottom windows, so I made sure to do that. So yeah, it's looking pretty good from this angle. And then I added a little fruit bowl and a little tray. This is the part where I found the debug menu. I figured out how to do that. So I pretty much took out everything that I thought I might need to use. And this is the chaos that you're looking at right now. I found these columns that I put on the balcony railing. These were pretty much perfect. It has like the oval indentation. They're like square. I thought they were a pretty good match. Okay, so then there's a like gas lamp sort of looking thing on top of the door to the balcony. So I pulled out all of the gas lamp looking things in the debug menu. There wasn't one that was like perfectly square like in the image, but I found the best one I think that I could possibly use. You see on the table there are watermelons, like a sliced piece of watermelon. I found whole watermelons in the debug menu, but I couldn't find any sliced ones, so this will have to do. They're pretty tiny melons, but I wanted to make sure they fit in the tray. For the cactus that you see on the table, the pot is actually a planter pot you can find at the game that I just resized and put on top of the table. Oh, and by the way, this cup that I got off the debug menu, I couldn't move it, I couldn't delete it. Every time I was trying to do that, it would tell me that it's like there's no item there. So it was a pain. And then I'm gonna replace these two chairs with this chair. I think it's just like, it's a better vibe and it seems more like an outdoor chair. And in the image, you see that you can make out like some shapes in the sunroom. You can see there's like a doorway into the other part of the house. There's a chandelier. So I put all that in. It makes it look more realistic when you're looking from that angle and you see some shapes in there because it wouldn't just be empty in there. And then I place the more realistic vines coming down. I use this like garland that I found in the debug menu. It didn't fit perfectly, but I thought from a distance it looked pretty good. And then I placed these planters boxes with little vines coming down on the side here. Those were really hard to place. Those kept sticking and doing all this weird stuff. So later I realized that they weren't perfectly aligned, but I wasn't gonna touch them because it was too hard. I don't know why, but I have this like really hard time with roofs, especially when I'm just trying to do a nice flat roof. So instead I put like a platform up here and then I just like put a fence trim on the roof. I felt like it really finished the building off really nice. Alright, so now I'm like doing the finishing touches. I'm making sure the windows look good, putting them around the building. And then I'm moving some stuff around in the little courtyard area. Oh, and in the Pinterest image, there's like in the distance, there's like some kind of weird like dirt space, and what looks like possibly a table. I'm not sure. It could be another like plant type area, but I just put a little table in the corner there. And I set up some chairs there too, some stools. That's the weird cup bug that I was dealing with. And then I put some bushes around the house. I didn't take the time to put them all the way around the house, but we can just imagine that that's what's happening there. And then I had some vines going up the side because I feel like in an old house like this, you're gonna have some like vines creeping up it. I need to mention, for whatever reason, I decided there needed to be a walkway from the courtyard into the rest of the plot because, you know, there's the waterway right there. And if I had my way, I would connect that walkway to the path right there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. These are some of the ending shots. I figured out you could use tab and the arrow keys for like a smoother shot of the place. So there's a lot of that. I will tell you that I did put like a filter over this just to kind of mimic the image, but I'll show you what it looks like without the filter at the end. It's still really, really nice. It just doesn't have that like romantic golden hour feeling. Yeah, but I mean, I would love to live here. It's gorgeous. I love outdoor spaces. And then this property is like I said, is right on the water. It would just be so nice to be like sipping some tea, sitting on that couch, people watching, and I love the view from the balcony. It feels like you're Juliet and you're like looking down, looking for Romeo. I think it's so cute. You know, maybe this isn't a French villa, maybe this is Italian. I also did add a little white cat to the couch. I thought that would be such a cute touch. I don't have cats and dogs, but that that cat was in the debug menu. So I thought it would be cute. There could be a lot more in the courtyard too. Like you could put a fire pit. You could do a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of space. So overall, I'm so happy with it. I love how planty it is. The organic shapes of all the plants, they just like break up what's essentially a bunch of blocks so well. And even though it doesn't look perfectly alike to the Pinterest photo, on its own, I think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous scene. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know if you have any questions about the foster cats or anything else. Once again, I thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye! Au revoir! Bye.